Well, hello there, friend. Welcome back to the podcast. This is the Jennifer Allwood Show. I'm Jennifer Allwood. This is podcast episode number 149. And I'm going to be talking to you today about some time hacks for both your life and your business, things for life that'll help you in your business. If you've ever dreamt of having a business, want to have a business, giving you some tips and tricks of things that you can do to save time. Listen, I don't know anybody that's just like, I'm sitting around so bored. Do you? Do you know anybody who's like just got this excess of time? Like time has become such a precious commodity. And I want for you to be able to really start off 2020 feeling more in control of your time and like you're not living this frantic, Cindy who works for me calls it the spirit of hand wringing type of life. I want you to be feeling like you're in control of your schedule, you have margin, you have breathing room, you have time to really focus on the things that are important to you. And so that's what we're going to be talking to today. I'm also going to be sharing with you something that I've never shared before in any of my coaching groups or anything like that. I don't even think I've shared this with my friends, but it's one way that recently Jason and I have figured out ways to help my productivity and to save some time in my business. And so you're going to want to stay tuned for that. But first, I want to read just a really quick review. I like to read these reviews to give a small business owner somewhere a shout out who has taken the time to go to iTunes and leave a review for this podcast because the reviews are so important. So I want to give Brittany from Paper and Peonies a quick shout out. Here's the review that she said. She says, I've owned a small stationery business since the year 2013. So if you're in need of stationery, I want you to go now to Paper and Peonies. I've done pretty well, but it's never been about the money. I've just really enjoyed putting my creative talent out into the world. But lately I've been stuck. Listening to your podcast made me realize that all I need to do is pray, listen, and make a move, and motion is what it takes. Thank you for all the useful and inspirational information you put out there. Constantly, it does make a difference. Well, Brittany, I just want to say, first of all, thank you. I hope that you have gone over to Amazon and pre-ordered your copy of Fear is Not the Boss of You, because the first line of the book is being stuck stinks. So if you are someone who has ever felt stuck ever on this side of heaven, go pre-order Fear is Not the Boss of You. If you go to Amazon, you can just look up Jennifer Allwood, Fear is Not the Boss of You, either one, or go to jenniferallwood.com/book. Any of those places and pre-order the book for April, but it's all about getting unstuck. So thank you for taking time to write that review. And I just pray a blessing over you and your business in the name of Jesus. So let's talk about ways that you can save on time. Because here's what I have noticed. I don't think life's going to be slowing down anytime soon. Do you? Even for those of you who are listening right now who perhaps don't have a business, maybe you work full time, maybe you're a stay-at-home mom, I guarantee you still feel at times rushed and like there just isn't enough hours in the day. Anybody else relate? And so I literally just have a bunch of bullet points that I want to share with you real quick. The majority of these are ones that I already use that I want to share with you, like things that you could implement pretty quickly into your life so that you can get just a little more time back. Okay. So these are in no particular order. In my head, I was like, how can I help people feel more control of their schedule, more control of their time, and get some like margin in there? Because it's in the margin that we're able to like be flexible and do some of the things God's asking us to do. It's in the margin that we feel like we have time to really, put more emphasis on relationships to us in the year 2020. It's in the margin that we have space for creativity as business owners. When you have your calendar booked from the beginning of the day to the end of the day as a business owner, where in there do you have time to daydream? And some of you, nobody's ever told this to you before, and I'm going to go ahead and be the first to tell you. The reason you're an entrepreneur is because you're so good at dreaming things up. Maybe you got shamed as a kiddo growing up in elementary school because you were always daydreaming. Listen, God's turning that daydreaming into $1 million ideas for some of you right now. But you're not going to get that $1 million idea while you're just hustling your butt off and just, duking it out hour after hour at your desk every day. I promise you won't. And so having some margin in your day to spend some time in the Word, to spend some quiet time, to have some time just to sit and stare out the window, that is gold. And for some of you, that's going to be the thing that changes your business in the year 2020, getting a little more margin in your day. So in no particular order, I'm just going to start giving you a list of some things that if you've never heard of or never thought of, I want you to do right now. Number one, I hope you're not still making trips to the bank. Did you know that you can do your deposits on your phone? If you didn't know that, go to your online banking right now and see if you can upload checks, even if it's a check you got from Christmas. You don't need to be getting in your vehicle and driving through the drive-through. You can literally upload deposits into your account through your bank app on your phone right now. There you go. Number one. Number two, what about meal prep? For some of you, it could be a huge breakthrough for your family and your waistline if you would just hire somebody to come do food prep for you. Now, before you start arguing with me, and it must be nice, Jennifer, and well, wouldn't that be great if we had that extra money? Listen, did you know that having someone food prep for you will literally prevent you from hitting the Applebee's after work and just, coming home and all of you eating out again? It'll prevent you from ordering the pizza, the Chinese food delivery, like spending, you will be about the same amount of money, honestly. I remember when I owned my painting company, and people would ask me for my advice on, a remodel or redoing the kitchen or things like that. And I would tell them, you need to hire a designer. And they would be like, no, it's too expensive. I can't handle or hire a designer. I can't afford it. And here's what I would say to them. Listen, you don't understand that, number one, your designer, she's going to save you time and money, and time is valuable, by the way, but she's going to save you from making the wrong mistakes, number one. And number two, she gets a discount on things. So things that you would walk in and pay full price for, she's going to get for a discount. So by the time you pay her and you've got the discount, you're paying the same amount of money. For some of you, food prep's the same thing. You're thinking, I can't afford somebody to come in and prep food for me. And I would like to challenge that thought and ask you if perhaps that is a poverty mindset and some stinking thinking. Because for some of you, if you would have somebody come in and literally just like get your food ready for you, make some meals for you, do a line of salads for you for that week, then you wouldn't be using what is going to be my next tip, which is like using a service like DoorDash. Food prep, meal prep is a great service to have. We have had somebody do prep for us in the past. She's come in and made salads for me every single day. She used to make 5 salads at a time for me in a mason jar, so that every day at lunch, I wasn't grabbing for the bag of Hershey's Kisses. I would grab for a salad instead. But that does bring us to number 3, which was DoorDash. I was going to tell you that a service like DoorDash, which will bring food to your door. So even though food prep is a great thing, today I literally, was starving for lunch. I had several training videos to be recording for my Creators Roadmap launch at the end of January. Many of you will be signing up for that course. It's where I teach you 7 different ways of making money in the online space. And so I had video after video after video today that I had to be recording, and therefore I didn't have time to really think about what lunch would look like. So Jason got on DoorDash and he literally ordered me some protein and some broccoli to be delivered to the front door. And they were here within 30 minutes. There was no delivery fee. And I mean, that is brilliant. That is brilliant. And sometimes, especially as entrepreneurs, when we get in the zone of genius, when we just get in the zone, period, stopping in the middle, breaking that flow is not a good thing. So if you can just have the doorbell ring and you've got a sirloin here with a side of broccoli, I mean, I am all over that action. I can sit here and continue working at my desk and hammering out the things that I need to. So DoorDash is a really great way to save time from getting up, going to make something, or having to drive somewhere and grab something. So let's talk about your grocery shopping. Okay, who here has not heard of Instacart? If you had not heard of Instacart, I'm just going to blow your mind with the fact that you can have groceries delivered in very little time to your front door by a number of grocery stores in your area. Instacart has been a game changer for Jason and I. So it's an app that you're going to install on your phone. So go to your app store. The app is free. And Instacart is an amazing service because literally you both can just be putting stuff in the cart, and then one of you hits go, you get an email, it comes in a couple hours, they'll literally bring it into your house for you. It is an incredible service that we really, really love and saves so much time. Now, I asked on my Instagram stories, I'm like, what other shortcuts do you guys love? Several of you said Walmart grocery pickup. I am not a Walmart fan, therefore I don't know anything about the Walmart grocery store. I avoid Walmart as much as possible, to be quite honest with you. And so But apparently their grocery service is the bee's knees. It's a bag of chips and all that. And so Walmart grocery service was a big time saver for a lot of you. A couple of other things you guys told me. One of you, who was it? It was Lisa that said, make sure you remind people about doing the deposits for the bank on your phone. And it was the Holly Lane who said, do the Amazon subscription for things like toilet paper, soap, those sorts of things. So you never have to be ordering them for grocery store delivery. So thank you for that, the Holly Lane. I wanted to tell you, for those of you especially who are business owners, perhaps you are self-employed. And so insurance is always a little bit of an interesting thing for people who are self-employed. If you are a person who doesn't have what we're going to call traditional health insurance, I want to tell you about a service that we have used for the last couple of years. And it's, again, an app on your phone that's free, and it's called Doctor on Demand. Now, Doctor on Demand is perfect for things like right now I am healing from a cold sore on my lip. I get cold sores probably about twice a year. And I get them when I have any combination of too much sun, too much salt, too much acid, or lack of sleep. So if I have 2 or 3 of any of those 4 items, I have a tendency to break out in cold sores. This is something that many of the people, my cousins, aunts, and uncles have the same thing passed on to us by my grandfather. God bless him. And so I've had cold sores since I was little. And the majority of the time, I do a pretty good job of realizing I can't go to the movie theater and eat a tub of popcorn at the movie theater because that's full of salt, and then come home and down a bunch of pickle juice, which I happen to love, and then stay up till 3 a.m. watching Netflix because I will get a cold sore. Does that make sense? Because I'm tired, all the things. So anywho, if you've ever, we have now gone to that place on the podcast, kids, where I am talking about cold sores. If you are someone who has ever had cold sores, you know that there's it's called, what is it called? Velacavir or something like that. It's a pill. It's a blue pill. All right. Not the blue pill, but a blue pill. And it really helps, like, if you take it right away, to keep the cold sore really small and to prevent it from spreading. And so I was down to the bottom of my prescription the other day. And so I called my doctor's office to renew it. And she was like, well, Jen, you haven't been here in 3 years to the doctor, so we can't renew it without you coming in for a physical. And I'm like, are you kidding? And then I remembered, oh yes, Doctor on Demand. So Doctor on Demand is $75 for an online visit. So essentially, whenever I've used Doctor on Demand, and I've used it 5 or 6 different times, and I can tell you all the different, for instances, I've used it. It's got to be for things like, there was one time that I knew that I had a bladder infection. Another time I knew I had a sinus infection. There was a time when I knew Ava had a skin rash that I believed was cellulitis, and she just needed some cream. There was one time when one of my kids had pink eye. So for things like that, Doctor on Demand is an amazing thing because you essentially get onto the app and you wait for a doctor. I've never had to wait over 5 minutes ever. And it's $75 that you pay in advance. And if it's something little like that, it's not life-threatening, something that you can pretty much diagnose yourself and they can just confirm, $75, you're done, and they call in your prescription for you. It's the most beautiful thing ever. Now, before I get a rash of hate mail from all of you who want to say that this is wrecking the medical industry, well, friends, times are changing. And the medical industry is changing, and healthcare as we know it is changing. And when you don't adapt and grow to the changing marketplace, then, I mean, all you have to do is look at Blockbuster and see what happens. And so while I understand that this is taking money away from traditional doctors, please also understand that at this point in my life, I don't have time to go sit in a doctor's office for 30 minutes on a wait, be seen for 20 minutes, and then have to leave there, drive back home, have the prescription called in. It's not ready. It's not ready. It's not ready. I make 2 trips there. Like you're taking hours out of my day that I literally just don't have. I don't have it. And some of you don't either. And so I think about where this would have been so valuable is when I had small children. And, if I had to go to the doctor because Jason worked full time and I stayed home full time, that meant either me scheduling an appointment after he got home, which most nights he worked till 6. So that was a little hard. Or it meant me having him come home from work early, which was always a challenge. Or it meant me dragging 3 toddlers to the doctor's office, which I would just rather shoot my eye out. So for those of you who are like, you are killing traditional doctors, no, I'm not. There is a time and a need for everything. And so some of you right now, I just changed your world. Doctor on Demand, girlfriend. It is Insanely valuable. Next, if you're going to use a service like Doctor on Demand, I also suggest that you use a drive-through pharmacy. So we have several pharmacies that are really close to us. We have Walgreens, we have CVS Pharmacy, we have, a pharmacy inside of Target, one inside of Walgreens. Baby, I ain't got time to be walking into a store. I use the one with the drive-through, hands down, all the time. Because otherwise, if I had them call it into Target, here's what's going to happen. Then I'm going to get distracted by the cute winter jackets that I see out at Target and by the dollar bins. And I wonder what Chip and Joe have in their, in their place in Target. And so I am going to get on a rabbit trail that ends up costing me money and spending me time. No, thank you. I'll use the drive-through pharmacy service every day of the week. So CVS Pharmacy is the one closest to me. Okay. For those of you who work in an office setting or have perhaps your spouse does and you need things ironed, you need things laundered, you need things dry cleaned. Hopefully you're aware of the fact that you can have a dry cleaning service come to your door, right? You no longer need to drive to a dry cleaning service. Now, will it cost you a little bit more money per item? Of course it will. But at some point you've got to start putting some value on your time. There are some of you that are still, you're of the mindset that I should still be the one that is ironing for my spouse. And that's fine if you have that conviction, but I don't. I know that God's got me on assignment to do some things on this side of heaven. Part of it's taking care of my husband, but I don't have to iron Jason's clothes in order for him to feel taken care of. And so for you, that may be part of what God's asking you to do. But for the girl who just feels guilty and feels like she's going to lose her wife card if she's not doing the ironing and the laundry, sis, seriously, he would rather you be a happy, free, whole wife who's not bitter on the inside because you're ironing than you do his ironing any day of the week. Please go ask your husband and report back, but I promise you that's the case. You're not going to lose your wife card because you take the laundry somewhere, or better yet, have them come pick it up at your doorstep. So literally, we have a red sack that looks like a Santa sack, and we set it out there on Tuesdays, and it is returned to us every Friday. Bada boom, bada bing. It is, they automatically just bill your account, but look for dry cleaning and laundering services in your local community that will pick it up and bring it back. Because what happens is this, especially for you busy business owners, those chunks of time, while logically in our mind, we think it doesn't take that long. And they're going to charge me another 10, 15 cents, 25 cents, 50 cents an item. No, I'm going to save that $5 and I'm going to drive there on Tuesdays. It's 15 minutes to get there. I talk for 10 minutes to the person while I'm there. It's 15 minutes home. Okay, I just spent 40 minutes to save $5. I'm going to have you look at your math, babe, because that's not good math right there. It's not good math. Good math is I only have so many hours in a day. And there are things that really do need to get done. That course that God put on my heart, that membership site that Jennifer keeps saying that I should get started. I took her quiz and she said that I need to be doing affiliate marketing, but I don't have any time to be doing affiliate marketing because I'm doing things like taking kids to the doctor when I know darn good and well it's an ear infection and dropping off the dry cleaning. Until you figure out how to put some things into motion that you will not feel guilty about, time is always going to feel like there's never enough of it. Use the drop-off dry cleaning service. Game changer. Okay. A lot of you spend way too much time in your inbox every day, whether you're a business owner or not. You're just spending time cleaning stuff out, delete, and then you're getting on rabbit trails of looking at the emails that are coming every day from decor steals or what have you, and you're finding yourself looking at things and you're spending money you don't need to and time you don't need to. Sis, unsubscribe. And you can do it one at a time as they're coming in, or you can go use a service that's called unenroll.me. Unenroll.me. You can remember it because you enrolled to be on that mailing list, but now you're going to unenroll.me. Go to that, get off of a lot of those mailing lists, because when you spend less time in your inbox, you have more time for other things. Hallelujah. Automatic bill pay. I hope that you're not still writing out checks to the light company. There's no reason for it in the year 2020. There's just not. You can be setting everything up on an automatic bill payment cycle so that you don't have to continue to do that. Okay. Let's talk about real quickly a house cleaner. So Jason and I first hired somebody to clean our home. Was it before we had Ava? And Ava's 12. So before you think that we were spoiled, no, we weren't spoiled, but I was building a business. And maybe you're not building a business, but maybe you're trying to write a book. Maybe you're not trying to write a book, but you're trying to adopt a child. Maybe you're not trying to adopt a child, but you're trying just to get some time back in your life to dream with God again. I don't care what it is, quite frankly. But having somebody come in to clean your home is both a gift to you and it's a gift to the person that's cleaning. And by the way, my mom just retired from cleaning houses after a decade of that. And so what an honor, a job with a lot of honor. Okay. So with that being said, I want you to look at the idea of house cleaning slightly different. And this is one of the things I teach my coaching students who are in my monthly membership group, my inner circle, because I need for them to think about their time in a different way. So here was the aha moment for me years ago. And I'll just tell this story really quickly because some of you have heard it before. But years ago, I had little kids. I had my decorative painting business in Kansas City. Most of you know that that's what I started with. I was a decorative painter. And I stayed home full time with the kids. And then when the kids would do like a mom's day out once a week, I would work my butt off in those 6 hours to get everything that I could done. And I had other women working for me the entire time. I got pregnant with Noah 3 months after starting the company in the year 2000. And so there was only a small period of time while I was out actually painting every day. And the rest of the time I had contractors who were there painting for me. So anywho, the thought had never occurred to me to have a house cleaner because I thought only rich people did that. And we weren't rich. And I thought only people who were lazy did that. And I wasn't lazy. And I thought only like special pampered women had somebody clean their house. And I wasn't a princess. And I didn't want my mom to look at me with judgment. I didn't want my friends to look at me with judgment. And so I felt like, no, I just need to be able to handle it all and get all the things done. Okay, so what would happen is I was trying to be the best mom that I could be while also trying to grow the heck out of this business. It's now allowed, my husband to leave corporate America. It's allowed us to be in the process of adopting a child. It's allowed us to move into our dream home. Like I was trying to build this thing back then. And what I was finding was I would spend most of my, a lot of time on my weekends cleaning and a lot of time during the day while Jason was at work and I should have been playing Legos with the kids. And instead I was, mopping floors. And what happened was I was starting to get really bitter about it because he'd come home from work and Jason has always been like so helpful in the home. He is always carried more than his 50% of household duties because, by the way, we're a married couple, we're a team. And it wasn't like Jen's supposed to do all of the girl stuff and Jason's supposed to do all the guy stuff. We never worked that way. We've always worked at what has God gifted you in and what has God gifted me in, and the rest of it, we're going to try to find somebody to do it so we don't kill each other. Somebody just had an aha moment. That was preaching right there. So I was feeling like I was irritated with the cleaning and that I needed to be doing so many other things and wanted to be doing so many other things, but the house still had to be clean. So I would end up feeling really bitter. And by the way, when you're a bitter woman, you take it out on everybody you live with. Don't tell me you don't. Your kids can sense it. Your spouse can sense it. And like I said earlier, your spouse would so much rather that you be a woman full of joy than you be the one that's actually dusting. Okay. So years ago, I told my husband, I had a friend suggest, she was a house cleaner. She's like, have you ever thought about having somebody clean your house? And I'm like, no. What are you saying? Are you saying I'm dirty? And she's like, no, you're just busy, Jen. You're just busy. So I asked my husband, of course, he was like, yeah, let's let her clean once. Well, at one point, I want to give you quick math here because I'm all about the math because data don't lie, math don't lie, okay? So it would take somebody 6 hours to clean my house in our old house and they would charge me $125. Well, at one point during my painting company, I charged $50 an hour for my painting. So she would be there 6 hours, I'd pay her $125 and I would go out and work for those 6 hours and I'd make $300. So somebody would clean my house while I was making $180 profit after paying her. Does that make sense? Or $175. Later, it got to where my fee was $100 an hour in painting. So I would go out and paint for 6 hours and make $600 and come home and pay her $125. I was making $475 instead of me being home for those 6 hours. Did somebody just understand what I said? I was making money by hiring a house cleaner. I hope somebody just got free right there because you do not lose your wife card and your woman card just because you're not the one who is cleaning the toilets. I promise you. But especially for those of you who are trying to build a business, you've got to give up something. You can't be the best mom you can be and the best business owner that you can be and the best house cleaner you can be at the same time. You just can't. You've only got so many hours in your day, sis. And by the way, you need to sleep. So there's that. I hope you'll hire a house cleaner. Let me talk to those of you real quick who are business owners, okay? With just a couple of quick tips for you to save some time. Number one, batch your work. Like, whoa, that's right. Yes and amen, Lola. Batch your work. Today, I recorded a ton of videos for you guys. I am so sorry that my dog is barking. I recorded a ton of videos for you guys for my Creators Roadmap course in January. I batched it. I did all my recordings at once. If I've got hair and makeup on, then let's go ahead and just knock those stinkers out. That's what batch work is. Sometimes when I record podcasts, I'll record 2 or 3 back to back because I'm batching the work. Sometimes when I need to make a bunch of phone calls, I'll do all my phone calls back to back to back to back. I'm in phone call mode. When I need to send a bunch of DMs to different people about things, I will get in the DM mode and I'll do it all at once. That's what batch work looks like. Listen, gone are the days where multitasking is what builds our business. That is not. It is very distracting. And I'm pretty sure I did a podcast episode on that. We'll put that in the show notes if I did, because I can't recall what number it would be. But multitasking works in small snippets at different times in our life. Multitasking for the long haul, no good. No good, because the people around you feel that multitasking. I'm responding to DMs while I'm paying one attention with one ear to my husband and what he's telling me. I am listening with one ear to a training class that I'm taking while I'm also sending emails at the same time. Your brain is in neither place, and a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. That's what the scripture says. Multitasking does not work the majority of the time. All studies show that. For real. So I know that as women, sometimes we wear that like multitasking thing as like a badge of honor. We're like, yes, I got this. I can feed the baby and put on mascara and type an email at the same time. And I know that there are seasons where that needs to happen for everything to get done, but that is not a good business strategy for the long haul. So do some batch work. Number 2, use an app like Visco. Where is it out on my phone right now? It's VSCO. It is a photo editing app. And if you have teenagers, first of all, perhaps you've heard the term, are you a Visco girl? It's VSCO. It's an app that it's like a white circle. What? Well, you can see what I've got in Visco. Hang on here. Hang on. Okay, well, I'm not going to sign in just so I can show it to you. But that's what Visco is. It's a little white dot with things around it. So if you've ever heard the term, are you a Visco girl? Because this is how preteens and teens talk. It came from that app, which is a way to edit a bunch of pictures with the same filter all at once. So let's say you're a blogger and you've never gotten into Lightroom. It was too expensive. It was too difficult. Same here, sis. Visco is a great option. Let's say that you need to put a bunch of pictures in a folder on your computer for your online store or something. Upload them into Visco and you can edit them all at once with the same filter. It's a great way to batch fix photos, essentially. So set alarms on your phone of when you allow yourself to get on Facebook. You're going to give yourself 30 minutes on Pinterest. You're going to give yourself 30 minutes on Instagram so that you can respond to DMs and you can try to reach out to some people. Give yourself some time, but set some limits on it, because otherwise what happens is we get into a rabbit hole. We really do. I mean, there's times when, I go to Pinterest to look up beautiful remodels for the bathroom. And before you know it, I'm reading about things we can do in Fiji. And I go down into some like crazy place and I don't even realize how time has gone by, right? And so set some alarms for yourself. Set some alarms for yourself. Last tip for you that's a time saver. Put the phone away. Put the phone away. You don't have to respond, even as a business owner, to every DM within a matter of minutes. If somebody responds to me in a matter of minutes as a business owner, in my head, I'm like, wow, do they have nothing else going on that they're responding to me that quickly? I think that there's a happy medium between letting a DM sit for 5 days and responding in 50 seconds. Does that make sense? But you can turn this off because it's a distraction. Turn off your notifications. I don't have a notification on my phone, like an audible one for Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, none of those. None of them. I don't have a DM or a notification either. Just like I don't get any notifications on Facebook, Pinterest, or Instagram. I go look at each of those several times a day and respond to what I need to. And but I don't have notifications turned on. That is one of the ways that I teach my other business owners how to stay in control. Because the truth is, if you jump every time you hear that phone ding, there's things that happen in your brain. I actually talk about this in Fear is Not the Boss of You. There is a chemical reaction that happens in your brain when you get a notification of a like or a comment. This is why social media is so addictive. It's so addictive. It has similar things happen in your brain. It's like a dopamine rush. It's like dopamine might not be the right word, but essentially it's like that thing that happens when you eat sugar and you feel really good for a few minutes and then you want another Hershey's Kiss and then you want another and then you want another. And social media is set up in a way to make you want to spend time there. I mean, how many of you know that sometimes you're like, I don't want to be on social media and I want to look at my kids. I want to play Scrabble. I want to focus on my family. And yet you find yourself back to the phone. Just turn off notifications. That is really, really a big help. I promise you. Okay, last two things. I told you at the beginning of this podcast that I was going to share with you a secret, a tip that I've never told anybody. And I'm going to just make the assumption that you are going to be mature enough to hear what I'm saying. Okay, so Jason and I had this aha moment a while back. I've recently had to have just a small surgery, which required stitches, which required me kind of being out of pocket for a little while, which required some trips to the doctor's office, which was, 40-minute drive across town. And there was one day that, and this has been a couple months ago, that I said to Jason, because I was going to get in the car and drive myself 40 minutes across town, be in the doctor's office, 40 minutes back home. And I'm doing the math and I'm like, that's 80 minutes that I'm in the car. And my temptation was to cancel the appointment because it was nothing serious or anything like that. So my temptation was to cancel the appointment. And you know what we did instead? We hired me a driver. We hired me a driver because it was the same day that I also had to have a bunch of things to Zondervan for Fear is Not the Boss of You to make sure that it launched on Amazon at the right time. And so my priority was getting this book. Where is that at? Right there. Fear is Not the Boss of You. Right there somewhere. Was to get this, all the last final things that are needed. And by the way, I'll do a podcast at some point on what goes into getting a book onto Amazon and how does one get a book to #1 bestseller in 5.5 hours on Amazon, because I've learned so much through this process. But there are a lot of different things that's needed: biographies, endorsements, a list of influencers. What are we going to do in the launch team? We need these pictures for Amazon. We need, there was just a lot of things. And I needed to be making a lot of calls and DMs that day to certain people who are going to be help launching the book, endorsing the book, etc. And so I told Jason I was freaked out because I was going to be driving across town and I didn't want to be texting and driving. I didn't want to try to be like leaving people boxers and DMs when that's texting and driving. I'd be looking down at my phone. So we got a driver. You could get an Uber. And I was able to work the entire 40 minutes on the way. The driver waited there for me. I was inside for 15 minutes, came back out, was able to work the entire 40 minutes home. I got 80 minutes of solid work done. Now, I know what you're saying. Some of you, you're saying, oh, must be nice, must be rough. Listen, if ever you hope to be able to do things like that, please don't roll your eyes inwardly or outwardly, okay? Because God's never going to give you the thing that you're like resentful towards. And could we have done this 5 years ago? Yes, we could have. We could have afforded me an Uber 5 years ago. We absolutely could have. I just never would have thought of it. But now that time is, such a valuable commodity to me, I understand the value of spending a tiny bit of money for me to get to work during that period. 80 minutes when you are back to back to back on a certain day as a business owner is huge. 80 minutes during the day was the difference between, and here was the real kicker. It was right before the whole Thanksgiving holiday and things, and we had family coming into Kansas City. And so it was either, if I didn't get the things done that day that I needed to, I was going to have to like step away from my family that evening and get them done because they were on a deadline. There's a lot of deadlines that come with a book. And I was not willing to miss those deadlines. You guys, you need the book, and I wanted it out at a certain time. And so, so we did some things. We got creative. God gave so many of you a creative brain. And perhaps you've had an idea like that. Like, I could perhaps hire somebody to drive me there. Therefore, I could get what I need to have done during that time, but you don't want to maybe share that idea because you're afraid of the judgment you'll receive or what your friends and family will think of you. Listen, sis, you are here on assignment. You got stuff you need to do on this side of heaven. You can't be worrying about what people are going to think about you. For real, you can't. You can't. And when they want to run your business, then they can judge. But until then, I mean, you just keep doing what you need to do to ensure that you get your work done so that you can really focus on the things that matter. Because that's really what we're looking for in terms of getting time back. We're looking for getting our time back so that we can really focus on the things that matter in life. And I want that for you in 2020. I want for you to have more freedom in your time. So I hope that that was super helpful for somebody today. We are going to actually give you a little time audit worksheet as a freebie with this podcast. If you want to go right now to jenniferallwood.com/time, you're going to see a printable that's going to help you figure out where you're spending your time, figure out your time, and plan your days a little bit better. So go to jenniferallwood.com/time. And that is it for this week's podcast. As always, thank you so much for being here. You're amazing. You podcast listeners are just the best. You're the literal best. And so if you know somebody, especially a business owner, who could benefit from this podcast, would you share it with them? If you're like, holy smokes, I've never heard of Instacart, will you put this on Instagram, tag me, and be like, you just, changed my world? Every time you guys tag me on your Instagram, I do see them. It's not like I have a team watching my Instagram for me. I literally see that and I try to respond to you. So thank you for tagging me on those Instagram photos of the podcast. I appreciate it. And until next week, I hope you stay creative. All right. Bye-bye.